Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great today. In today's video, I'm going to talk about basically a little bit of a story and my own experience, and also it's going to be a bit of advice for people out there who feel like they don't want to conform into society. This video is basically for you. So, I've mentioned a couple of times that I'm like one of them alternative people, even when it comes to like being gay and how I express my clothing most of the time. I do dress up as a hippie sometimes, or I dress up as a cross between a hippie, but 9 times out of 10 I will go for kind of like a wannabe biker look. So I wear like a lot of black clothes, I wear a lot of like leather. I have like leather jackets, I have like leather strips or leather gloves. I like the look of leather basically. And for gay guys my age and probably my body type as well, that is like known as like an alternative kind of guy, because you know we are known as the femme presenting people, which I can see myself being like that sometimes. You know, I kind of don't care if I come across as masculine or feminine, but because I am an individual and I like to stand out, that's always been a part of my personality. Because the young gay community, even the older gay community, is known for its campy colours, I kind of distance myself from that when it comes to my fashion. That's not to say that I do it just for that reason. I've always loved the colour black, and I've always, well, since I've been listening to rock music, which was about 17, so about 7 years now, I wear a lot of rock band t-shirts, and then I've always kind of wore that with a leather jacket because I saw that was the style I like, and I've kind of somewhat stuck to that part of my fashion style. So I actually do like the style, but a part of it is definitely to be a gay individual and not be a 100% gay stereotype. So the reason I'm even bringing this up is because I've mentioned a couple of times in this video, in many videos I mean, that there's this trend within the modern LGBT community to basically make people agree to one narrative, and they are forced to agree to like one narrative as well, which I think is harmful because that's not how human beings work. So for example, when I was in school, it was a very religious environment, and I've mentioned a couple of times in my past videos that I didn't have the best experience. You know, it is the stereotype that you would think of if you were to go to like a Catholic school, just very closed-minded in some ways. So because of that, because I like to be an individual, I made more of a conscious effort to be more camp in that school. So I always liked singing and dancing, and I would never put that on as an act when it's not really who I am, but I did put on more of that act so I could stand out. Obviously, you know, some kids can tease, and, you know, in hindsight, it didn't help my case, but it's what I thought I should do at the time, and I'm still not 100% sorry because I stuck to my guts, and I'm glad I did. Now that I am like a very openly gay guy, obviously now, because I am in that colourful community, I now have the excuse to be as colourful as I want, but because that has not really been an individual when you were in the community, I kind of gone the other way, and it was not long after as well that I got into rock music that also made me want to play with leather. I just think it's fun to, in whatever capacity, if your personality is to be an individual and not follow the crowd, it's fun to do that when it comes to clothing as well. Like, I've never had a problem when it comes to like thinking, oh, what if someone sees this kind of thing. Even if it is something blatantly sexual or blatantly rainbow LGBT looking, as long as it doesn't impact that said person, and if I'm just going around minding my own business, my brain tells me do it. And if most people thought that way or was embraced to think that way, we would have less gender roles, which I fight against because gender roles are stupid. Not gender itself. Gender is a scientific thing, but the roles that we have assigned since the dawn of time is just stupid, because no guy and no girl 100% goes 100% to the gender role. I have personally met one or two people that's in the LGBT community, but more on the male side, that are like alternative, that dress up in like gothic or punky stuff or emo stuff. And, you know, as well, they're very camp and they'll talk about, you know, their same-sex attraction all the time. But like, you know, when I met them, I was just very aware that, you know, they're very much like me and that we're quite rare when it comes to our community. We're either very normal looking, which was what the communities wanted kind of like years and years ago, which I think is a good thing, but then it's also good to have the darker gays, because we're not seen as like the bad boys, even though I wouldn't say that, but you know, the kind of guys that would go around on a motorbike and wear like leather jackets, you know, we're not really seen in that way. I think I mentioned in my last video or second to last video on this channel that I went out on a date about a week ago and I ran into his friend, and then we found out that we'd met before through my ex, and he's an alternative gay, and we have like loads in common. We've been talking every now and then on Facebook Messenger, and we have like loads in common with our taste and what we like to wear, what we like to watch, what we like to do. He's creative, he likes what people would call creepy things, but we see it as pretty. But I asked him, do you get shit from typical gay guys because you are alternative? Because I do. And I was like, yep. Well, he said that actually, yeah. He agreed. And then I was like, I don't find it specifically with gay individuals. And I prefer having, like, I actually do like having gay friends. I will admit it. Because obviously we have that in common. We can go to, like, a gay theme event and we can have, like, each other's back. And it won't be known as weird. But when gays do get in a room where it's 2 or more, it does become a game of who can be the biggest bitch, and I'm not a fan of that. So, but individual gays are more themselves and just more normal. I've really come to appreciate myself over the past couple of years, that I've been myself all of these years, and I've been extremely lucky that since I've left school, I haven't been beaten up or heavily harassed, you know. There'd be some people that dress like me or is open like me that would be beaten up and harassed on a regular. So I'm very blessed with that. And I kind of give thanks to that sometimes, randomly, if I remember. But yeah, I'm just very happy that I'm lucky and that I have that personality to be an individual, and for the most part think about the world and think about maybe they're trying to send me the wrong message on what the message should be. Graham, the guy that I mentioned that's very much like me, I think very similar to him. I think that he's very brave. The fact that he is who he is, and he stuck to his guts, and he wasn't like, I assume, because we haven't like spoke about it, I assume that he's not caved for the most part when it comes to people saying, oh, you should be like more campy and wear colours or just wear normal clothes. Yeah, so I'm very impressed with him and myself and people like me, because like I say, we need more original people in this world, whether you're alternative, if you're a gay guy, or if you're a straight guy and you love campy things, you should then be a femboy. If that's who you feel like you are, you should be who you are. A lot of people will think that as a gay individual that is in their 20s, straight people will think that we get crap from other straight people. But in my experience and what I've heard other LGBT people's experience, that doesn't say the right narrative. They say basically the same thing that I've said, is that actually the most crap that I've got is from actual people within my community, because we've gotten to the point where it's like very you must believe in this and you must say this or else you're a bigot, or we're going to call you something behind your back, or you're going to be seen as this negative thing that we've created. I've had it quite a few times happen to me, and I've had it quite a few times happen to my friends as well. So yeah. And it sucks a lot. Personally, most people will think I'm being dramatic, but I'm quite a sensitive person when it comes to this kind of thing. If you are a part of a community that originally was about love and acceptance and tolerance and about equality, it should always stay that way, where now it's more about victim blaming, wanting more than straight people, and also guilt tripping. And to me, that's not what the original community was about. It was about love and acceptance and about information that was valid, where now it's very coerced and they use information that isn't valid and they make up their own most of the time. So I just think it's very annoying, because I do feel like I am an old soul overall, but being a part of that community that is supposed to be very accepting has gone to the point where it's not, where I personally don't feel welcome. And even though my channel is all about talking about gay politics or gay experiences that I've had, I don't feel like I am a part of the community anymore. I feel like they changed that much that I had to bow out. So obviously not all people who are in the community think this way. The friends that I have, for the most part, who are gay or bi, do feel, or they say they feel very similar to me. Some of them might act out, still entitled and woke, but for the most part, they are individual thinkers, and they felt judged as well by the gay community. One of them in particular is into a kink that I'm not like very into, but me and him have kind of like virtually fooled around and I'm kind of into it, but I think the actual thing is weird, but I can take something from it, which is basically puppy play. So I see it as like, I don't see it as bestiality, because it's not actually having sex with animals and it is a human being, but to me it's almost beginning to tread itself into normalizing bestiality. But what I do like about it is that a lot of the time they wear leather, and like I say, I'm very much into leather play and wearing leather. And you know, the whole point is kind of like, pup play is like, there's a master and then there's a puppy, so it's like dominatrix. So I kind of get into it because of the leather and because of that, but overall I do think that it's personally weird, but he's a cool guy, and, you know, we're friends, so I don't want to, like, bash him or anything. He told me, which I thought was interesting, that one of the reasons that he got into puppy play and why he kind of experiences that world is because he felt judgment from the same thing that I did, and it made him bow out from that community and find a different community, which was the pup community. So we basically had a very similar experience, but we just found different ways of dealing with feeling unwanted within the community. Like I say, pup play to me is weird, but there's some parts of it that I like. But him as an individual is a good friend, and he's always kind of wanted to talk to me, so no shade. And then I have this other guy, who I don't talk to all the time, but we're still friends. He told me that he felt very similar to me when it comes to the obsession with weight within the gay male community. There are two popular kind of different way looking bodies of guys that are seen as sexy. There's the cute skinny guy who normally looks young and is young. That's a twink, so they're seen as like one of the ultimate sexy ones. But then the ultimate sexy one is like the jock. So he like is really sporty, normally tall, shredded, you know, can like lives for arm wrestles, you know. I am generalizing, but it looks like that person. So them two are like the most popular good looking guys that gay guys tend to like, and I am nowhere near them two. So I personally felt a bit out of sync. It made me feel a bit crappy about how I looked sometimes, and this friend felt very similarly, and he has a similar body type to mine. So we like spoke about that, and then he kind of distanced himself from that community as well. He still is a part of the community, and I think he still likes it, but he just doesn't like the toxic side, like me. And then I have another friend, where, again, he has a similar weight to me, but he also felt very distant from the LGBT community of today, and he says that he's felt judged by believing in science to do with being gay and being trans. You know, just the fact that he like made sense in the world. And at first he said, which I thought was interesting, he used to want to make up that he was some kind of gender, like gender fluid or non-binary, because he noticed that they were the ones that were getting more validation, and he said that he wanted that at one point. So he used to want to say he was something, but then he decided not to, which personally I thought was a good idea. So the fact that he felt peer pressured into coming up with something was interesting, and I kind of had that myself in some way or another. So I completely got what he was saying, and this is what I'm talking about. All of these new terms that are made up are making normal gay guys, gay girls, bi people and trans people distant themselves from the community, and it's just so toxic. So I know I've rambled here, so I'm going to kind of give my brief all-encompassing thought here. So we need to stop being toxic within the LGBT community, within any community, with whatever you're in. You need to think about what you really believe and what you really say, and does it make sense, and does it also make people be turned off by your community. And if you can sit back and almost think about it from an outsider's perspective, and if you can then go, oh, this is actually really weird, like I'm seeing it in a completely different light, and then you need to really look into why you've always thought this, and you'll find that it's peer pressure most of the time. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe down below. My socials will be down below, my free Twitters and my other YouTube channel where I review albums that I like. I state the songs, I tell you my favourite songs, and then I give requests to anyone who would like it for specific genres of taste. And yeah, love you guys.